I don't have much in the way of too many announcements because I really want to get to the forum. I know that's what most everyone is here for. I'll remind you again, you still have time to come up with some questions on your note cards, and please fill those out. A couple of wrap-up events that I wanted to share with the Pasco Chamber in general are our Riverfest that we just had. Was that last weekend, 2 weekends ago? Can you believe we're already turned the corner on October? But October 5th, we had Riverfest. I think it was our 5th iteration of Riverfest. The idea behind Riverfest is to really have this great community festival, if you will, to learn how important our hydropower system is. And so this year we had nearly 80 exhibitors that ranged from government entities to tribes to irrigators to businesses that all have a tie-in to our hydropower system and our waterway system that we have, and had such a great turnout. It was a little slow at the beginning. If you recall, Saturday morning was a little chilly, but by noon we were rocking and rolling. I know that we had thousands of people show up. We don't have exact counts, but I'm guessing we well surpassed 3,000. I kind of based it a little bit. I know the Colville tribe, they brought, I think, nearly 2,000 t-shirts, and they got rid of all of them. So, and I'm sure some didn't get them all. But what a great event. Really get a lot of great feedback for the importance of really educating how many facets our river system provides, not only the clean hydropower, but irrigation and recreation and transportation. Really, a lot of that stuff, it's easy to take for granted. And it's really great to get that information out, especially to a growing community like ours in Pasco and the Tri-Cities, because people are moving from elsewhere, and they really need to know how important like the lower Snake River dams are. And so we're really proud to help produce that event, and appreciate everyone that did show up and support us with that. Another event that I want to get on your radar now, even though it doesn't seem like it's a little ways away, but our Ag Hall of Fame event is coming up in January. But right now, the nomination process is open. So if there's someone you know that works in the agriculture industry that has done above and beyond what they normal person would do to really promote how important this economy is to us here in Franklin County and beyond. Our area does cover beyond Franklin County, even though it originated in North Franklin County. Now it encompasses Benton County, even a little bit in Yakima and Walla Walla and Adams County as well too. So if there's someone that you know that might be worthy of a nomination, it's easy to just go to our website, pascochamber.org. Click on the Ag Hall of Fame button, and there's a process there. I know the committee is eagerly awaiting to start working on those, but mark your calendars. I think it's January 17th here at the Red Lion, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some great nominations come in. With that, it's now my pleasure to introduce Rebecca Francik, who is our former Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Pasco. And she did such a wonderful job last year of moderating that she has this job until she says she can't or won't. So with that, please help me welcome Rebecca, and she'll go through the ground rules and everything else. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I wanted to let you know, because my husband was just asking this morning, that ballots for the general election will be mailed out later this week, and all votes are going to be tallied on November 5th. You can watch a rebroadcast of this forum online at Pasco City Television or on Charter Channel 191. So on to the candidates. Each candidate today is going to have an opportunity for a 60-second opening statement, a 60-second closing statement, and then each candidate will be asked a series of questions both from the chamber and from the audience. So if you have some of these cards on your table, I am 68 years old. Please write big. Please write neatly. So that I can see them. And we have chamber people who are going to be walking around, and they'll collect those cards from you so you can just hold them up as you go. Do know, the last time I did this, I would have sometimes 3 or 4 cards asking the exact same question. So if your exact question doesn't get answered, I do try to make sure the subject gets covered. Depending on the expediency of the forum, each candidate can expect to answer 6 to 8 questions from chamber members and the audience. And Colin is going to be in the front. He's going to be our timekeeper, and he will let our candidates know when they have 15 seconds left and when you must stop. So at this time, I'd like to ask all of you to silence your cell phones, and please show your respect to our candidates and fellow chamber members by refraining from clapping, cheering, or jeering until the forum has concluded. So let's begin. As I announce the candidates, I'm going to ask you to join me on stage. So we'll start with Franklin County Commissioner District Number 1, Stephen Bauman, and Blanche Barajas. And then District Number 2, Rocky Mullen. Oh, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. Stephen Bauman and Caleb Atkins. Sorry. Okay, so Colin, better light. And District Number 2, Rocky Mullen and Blanche Barajas. My apologies. So please give our candidates a hand. So we're going to start with, go ahead and be seated. And I am just going to call you, I'm going to start to the left, and then we'll kind of keep rotating so you're not always the first person up. Mr. Bauman, would you like to give us your 60-second opening statement?
Sure. That is a hot mic. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming and listening to us today. Thank you, Colin and the Chamber, for inviting us here, and Rebecca for asking us questions. I think I should say thank you for that. We'll see.
Hey, I'm just reading what the audience writes.
My name is Stephen Bauman. I grew up just north of town out here by Basin City. Growing up, we called it Washington, B.C. because it sounded bigger that way. And so I grew up in the farming community. I now live here in Pasco. I work in the land development process. I grew up on a farm and in the ranching industry. And I love my community, and the most important thing for me is that my community succeeds, because without my community succeeding, I can't succeed. So my name is Stephen Bauman. Would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And go ahead and hold your applause until the very end. Mr. Atkins, that way your hands won't get tired.
Well, thank you, Colin, and everybody for being here, and thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for putting this thing on. My name's Caleb Atkins, and I grew up in Pasco, down there on 412 North Road 34, next to the Moore Mansion. I went to school here for 10 years, and then I went off to Walla Walla Valley Academy, where I graduated, and then on to Walla Walla University, where I graduated from there with 3 degrees, mathematics, sociology, and education in 5 years. I'm running for this office because I've followed politics on a granular level and understand social theory, and economics has always been kind of a hobby for me as well. And I think that there are problems that we need to address as a locality. I think a lot of those problems stem from the power being clawed away from our locality by Olympia as well as the federal government. And in my candidacy, I seek to restore that constitutional power that should be vested to our locality. Thank you.
Thank you. District Number 2, Rocky Mullen.
First of all, I just want to say it's been a pleasure to serve you the last 3.5 years. A little background on myself. I was born and raised here in Pasco, grew up on the family farm, which has been in operation since the late 1940s. I've been a businessman ever since I can remember. My career started early with management in Safeway stores. I went on to start my own business. I ran a entertainment, Western-themed party group that went nationwide. I had locations throughout the United States. I would simply fly out and do the events and then fly home. From there, I opened a document shredding company called Green Shred, which I sold out to DeVries. Me and my wife just recently sold our business of Dove Factoring, where we did accounts receivable financing. So a lot of experience with budgeting, planning, and marketing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barajas.
I'm on now. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thanks for setting this up to the chamber. My name is Blanche Barajas. I moved here in 2005, so I've been here for 19 years. Born and raised in California, of migrant parents, and I know the value of hard work. I know hard work and school really takes you places. And so my dedication has been to help and advocate. Social justice has been my background. I've worked in nonprofits, I've worked in healthcare, and I hope to bring, I've been in city council for 7 years now, going on 7 years, served as mayor pro tem, served as mayor, and still feel wholeheartedly that we can do better. We can do more, and we can do a lot more by taking in your input. The input from the community and your voices do matter. So I hope to do that.
Thank you. Moving on to question number 1. Thank you for these. Your writing's great. We've heard some of your curricula vitae, but what specific skills do you offer the public which make you the best candidate to run our public safety, our court systems, our mental health facilities, and our zoning? And I'm going to start with Rocky Mullen, please.
First of all, I'd like to say I have over 35 years of management experience with Dove Financial Services. We're accounts receivable financing. We're in charge of our own budget, which is in excess of $10 million. So other than, and also with that, the management experience that I had owning several businesses over the past decade. I'm a strong advocate for the Mental Health Recovery Center. It's something that our community desperately needs, and am doing everything we can do to expedite that process to get it open. And with my last 3.5 years as county commissioner and previously attending the meetings for the previous 4 years before that, I think I have a grasp, I've gained a great knowledge of the county expenditures and planning. And just want to say that every vote does count. When I ran in 2016, out of 29,000 votes that were cast, that race was separated by 7 people.
Okay, Ms. Barajas.
I have a degree, a bachelor's degree in business administration. I do have a small business, and again, part of the work that I've done in business administration, currently running a nonprofit program that works with sexual assault, dealing with budgets, working budgets, asking for grants, applying for grants. All this work really comes in to know how to run a county, a city, an organization that needs to, again, work cohesively and responsibly. We owe it to our constituents. We owe it to the voters to make sure that we're running things properly, adequately, and transparently. My experience has been to be transparent. This past 7 years in City Council, we've been very transparent in what we're doing and responsible as far as the growth goes. And so I hope to bring that, carry that over into the district.
Thank you. Mr. Bauman.
Thank you. I don't believe that I have the expertise to run the court system and emergency services, but what I do have is management skills, having built several small businesses and currently running small businesses. I do a lot of owner's rep work, and what that is to bring different perspectives together and to find a solution to the issues at hand. One thing I do on a daily basis is to seek advice from experts. I feel like I have a unique ability to seek out good advice and be able to have an understanding and bring people together. I tell people that I'm an eternally optimistic bridge builder, and I really believe that to be the case. And so while I don't think that I have specific skills to run a court system, I do know how to bring people together, find the expertise to answer and run systems like that.
Thank you. Mr. Atkins?
Well, when it comes to budgeting, I don't have any particular experience with budgeting itself, but I do have a mathematics degree. And as it pertains to budgeting, I think that I could tackle that pretty well. I think that if I was a commissioner, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in right now with the deficit that we have. I think it's about a $6 million. I hear a bunch of numbers tossed around, but the deficit that we have wouldn't be it wouldn't be the case if I was a commissioner. And because of me not throwing my hat in the ring, I think and we should do this all as commissioners. I think is take a 20% reduction in our salary to hire a county administrator, because I think there's some leadership missing at the top. As commissioner, if I was to win, and every resolution basically that we were to pursue, I would try to go talk to folks on the ground and gain an understanding and input from them and pass or don't pass that.
Thank you. The next question is, I've got two questions that are kind of the same side of a coin, so I'm going to ask both of them. And Ms. Barajas, I'm going to start with you. If you need me to repeat this, feel free to ask. So the first part of the question is, how important is the comprehensive planning document to the growth of the county, and do you propose balancing residential needs with agricultural needs? The second question was, we often hear people complain that King County and Seattle decide everything for us. So my question here is, how do you keep farmers and others living rurally from feeling like Pasco decides everything for Franklin County? So if you want to.
Sure. First one. A comprehensive plan is crucial to, you're mapping out how you're going to run the city, how you're going to manage and finance every project that is decided on. A comprehensive plan is your map to growth or not growth. It's a map that helps you decide every single decision, every single vote, every single conversation that is to be had. As far as the second question, we need to have more open conversations. We need to be more inviting of every single person in the county. It's a long county. I've been driving around a lot, canvassing, and yes, I do see that there's certain sections, certain areas within the county that have been maybe not intentionally excluded, however, they have been. And so we need to make a stronger effort into including every single voice in the decisions that are being made, having community forums, having meet and greets, having, just conversations across the aisle. Your party doesn't matter. You need to have conversations with everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen.
So nobody plans to fail. They fail to plan. So we need to have a plan that is going to move Franklin County along into the future, providing the services that we need for our citizens while protecting our agricultural basis. Sometimes I think that not a lot of common sense is being used when you look at maybe the urban development lines and things like that. But we have to find a middle source that both protects our agriculture and promotes businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Atkins.
When approaching development, reaching out into the farmland, we have to talk to farmers about that encroachment on their property, or not their properties, but their area of their farm. And we have to talk about water rights. We got to take all that into consideration as well, and kind of just glean that input and then go forward and kind of make a decision. But it can't be done without input from our farmers. We got to protect our agriculture. It's a big part of our community. I was actually talking to some farmers a few weeks ago and they told me the biggest issue that they're having right now is the road systems and the bridges that they have out there. We need to look into fixing those and kind of bolstering them to make it easier for them to move their products and thus kind of increase efficiency. As it pertains to development, though, we need measured growth. We can't just build recklessly. And I'm not against growth. I think growth is a great thing. I think it's necessary, but we need to be careful when we do so.
Mr. Baumann?
Thank you. The comp plan is a vital process that Franklin County absolutely needs to go through in a very measured and a very careful fashion, because with a structural deficit that we have right now, it is extraordinarily important that we prioritize what our comp plan looks like, what the growth structure will look like, because when you have finite resources, it's really important that you prioritize appropriately. With being the fastest growing county in the state of Washington, it is important that we prioritize public safety and our roads over some of the other issues that come about. And with that process and the comp plan update coming up in 2026, it's vital that we begin now and include the whole of our community, as well as our partners, the city of Pasco. It's vital to have a good relationship with the city of Pasco, because some of our issues are their issues as well. And when we work together with the economy of scale, we can be successful together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Millen, I'm going to start with you on the next one. The last 4 years have seen our commissioners and county embroiled in litigation, investigations, and lawsuits. These legal activities divert our public dollars from essential services. How do you intend to lead our county so taxpayer dollars are being used most strategically for the public good, and how are you going to balance the budget?
I think that the first step is trying to get everybody to get along. It's no secret that there's turmoil in Franklin County's courthouse. And I believe that if we could all work together, we could accomplish great things. But there are some entities in there that seem to want to fight, and that fight's been going on for years. And we need to bury the hatchet, move on, and do the best job that we can to provide the services for the people of Franklin County. I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
How are you going to balance the budget?
Okay. Balancing the budget, that's always a big part of our job, and it's a very difficult decisions that have to be made, and we have to prioritize what we need to spend our money on and where we can cut back. Currently we spend more money than what we take in, and I think that just even a little common sense, let's say, for example, you look at the transit, has $40 million in surplus, and Franklin County has about $400,000. The emergency management, the radio systems that we need, they need to be updated. And I think that taking maybe 1/10 of 1% away from the transit would accomplish that goal.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann?
Thank you. That's a complicated question to answer in 90 seconds. There has been some unnecessary litigation happen in Franklin County. There needs to be a calm and a consistency there, as well as people that have a willfulness to get along. For me, I try to take the personality out of the issue and address the issue at hand, irregardless of what the history of it is. It may not be my fault, but it is my responsibility today, and I will address my responsibilities address it head on. As far as balancing the budget, it's going to be a difficult thing. We have a structural deficit. We are growing faster than the funds that the county is collecting. We have one of the lowest levy rates in the state, and those two things are intersecting right now and making it very, very difficult. So with a structural deficit, it's going to take hard decisions to balance the budget.
Thank you. Ms. Barajas. Yes, I'd be glad to. The last 4 years have seen our commissioners and county embroiled in litigation, investigations, and lawsuits. These legal activities divert our public dollars from essential services. How do you intend to lead our county so taxpayer dollars are being used most strategically for the public good? And what are you going to do to balance the budget?
Right. It's very difficult. Again, I would agree that it's 90 seconds is a little short to answer that question. I think part of the reason, well, part of the problem is that we need to look at it as we're showing up to do a job, not for ourselves, not for our buddies, not for people that we're close to, but for the constituents, for the people that trusted us and put us in that position to do better. I think that the issues with the budget, they stem from several years ago, probably 10 years back. However, I don't feel that the current leadership has been intentional and aggressive at seeking out grants or other sources of funding. Have relied on for several years, for too many years, on the same sources. Unfortunately, when it comes to budgeting and fixing the budget that's in this situation now, other means now need to be taken into consideration. Tax levies, having those conversations with, again, the voters to make sure that we're doing the right thing by them.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann, you're next on this one. Let me see if that's right. Nope, sorry, Caleb, you're next. Mr. Atkins.
Thank you.
If Proposition 1 sales tax increases, oh, I am so sorry.
Can you
Thank you.
repeat the question?
Yes, I can. So the question is, the last 4 years have
Yeah.
seen our commissioners and county embroiled in litigation and lawsuits. These legal activities divert our public dollars from essential services. How do you intend to lead our county so taxpayer dollars are being used most strategically for the public good? And what are you going to do to balance the budget?
Well, if elected, I definitely wouldn't get myself embroiled in investigations. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. Following the laws as it relates to just acting as a commissioner in the courthouse is very important, and it should be taken seriously. As it pertains to balancing the budget, I think that if we are to look at raising taxes or anything like that, we need to have a sunset on those policies to see if they're having the effects. Like any policy that is enacted within my tenure needs to have a sunset within those who voted on its tenure so that we can measure the impact of those policies and see if they're having the desired effect. If they're not, we need to look at different options. I think that a sunset idea is very important. So, and when it comes to balancing the budget, we've got to sit down with all the departments and try to figure out what's priority spending and what isn't, and make those necessary cuts. And it's not going to be easy, but it needs to happen. And we also need to sell the Hapo Community Center.
Thank you. Okay, everybody's answered that question, right? We're going to start with you again, Mr. Atkins. This question is, where is it? Proposition 1. If Proposition 1 sales tax increase for emergency communications fails to pass, what are some solutions that you would consider as a commissioner?
Well, I think that we need to look for grants. I think that's option number one. We need to find money where there might not be any, or we have to simply cut other areas. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to be easy. You have to prioritize spending. And I've spoken with the sheriff at length. He's endorsed me. And he has said that this is a necessary item and we need to pass this proposition, or there are going to be bigger problems that we'll have to deal with down the road as it pertains to our safety of our county. I think that the reason that we got here was probably budget mismanagement in the first place, and that shouldn't be overlooked when we're making the decisions in this election. And I think that we need to seriously consider the options that we have. And I know that's very vague, but I'm also not in government at the moment, so I'm not sure about all the options that we have, but we need someone with the energy to find them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barajas? Yes. What is your, whoops, sorry. If Proposition 1 sales tax, if the Proposition 1 sales tax increase for emergency communications fails to pass, what are some solutions that you would consider as a commissioner?
You know, I keep saying this, communication is dire. We definitely need to be connecting with all the individuals that will be impacted. Public safety is something that we all depend and rely on when there's a need. If it doesn't pass, I would agree with Mr. Atkins. We need to look into grants. We need to look into other ways, other subsidies, other ways to make sure that we have the proper funding for this service that benefits the whole community. You know, there's just so much that I could say about this. Again, it's a benefit, it's a service that the whole county, the city serves and uses, and we currently have a high rating for the services because our officers, our sheriffs, our police department, our fire department are quick to respond. If we do not have these services, we're up a challenge that is going to create barriers for individuals that utilize these services. We cannot afford that, and if that contemplates looking into, again, probably a tax levy, that's probably a solution. But we do definitely need to look into those options, any funding source that can help this.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. If Proposition 1 sales tax increase for emergency communications fails to pass, what are some solutions that you would consider as a commissioner?
So if the proposition were not to pass, I mean, we are already looking for grants. So grant money is being looked for currently. It's not something that's been put on the back burner. The cost of the radios, you know, I've heard everything from 10 million to 30 million. Realistically, I think that Motorola does have a finance part of that. So with grants, we could be looking at a share of about 3 million, and adding the city on is going to double the county's cost to 6 million, but that's financeable. And like I said before, if you look at the transit system, and I'm not here to get, you know, to downplay the transit. I mean, it's a much needed service. But when you see so many empty buses, when you can stand on a street corner and see 3 buses pull up and they're all empty except for the drivers, and they have $40 million plus in surplus, one has to ask yourself, maybe it's time to take a look at redistributing that 0.6% sales tax. And that even just reducing it by 0.1%, they would still have plenty of money to operate, and it would solve our radio issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann, we're going to move back to you for the first part of this question. What is your approach to balancing the economy of scale that comes from regional partnerships and the unique needs of Franklin County?
Can I answer that last question first?
With the closing of Lamb Weston plant in Connell, how do you plan to help smaller cities in the county?
The last question.
Or the last one. You didn't get to do the Proposition 1? I'm sorry. If Proposition 1 sales tax increase for emergency communications fails to pass, what are some solutions that you would consider as a commissioner?
So public safety is our #1 responsibility. And while that would be a severe blow to the options on the table if this were not to pass, we have to empower our public responders with the ability to communicate. It is, when I dial 911, I need them to answer the call. And so every option, if that were to fail, would be on the table. Financing would be an option. Currently, we are working diligently to seek grant funding. I have been in steady and consistent communication with our state legislators as well as our national legislators seeking out, is there any options available anywhere? And trying to make some headway on that. We have a meeting coming up where we're going to have a bunch of our legislators sit in the same room where we can present them what our issues are. And for me, a lot of you know me, I'm happy to be there with my hat in my hand and say, I don't know how to do this. Would you give us advice? How do we do this? Our first responders have to have communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen, we're going to start with you on this next question. I did, but that puts him on the seat twice. So Mr. Mullen, starting with you. What is your approach to balancing the economy of scale that comes from regional partnerships and the unique needs of Franklin County?
So I believe right now we probably have the best relationship with Benton County that we've had in years. The 3 commissioners from Benton County, 3 commissioners from Franklin County have a great working relationship. And I think that working together and teamwork, we can accomplish great things. So with that, right now we're moving forward with the Recovery Center, and I think that is the #1 priority right now for Franklin County and for our community.
Thank you. Ms. Barajas. Yes. What is your approach to balancing the economy of scale that comes from regional partnerships and the unique needs of Franklin County?
And I'm going to go back to saying communication is dire and highly needed in these positions. One of the things that I do strongly believe in is strong partnerships, great networking and great relations with everybody and anybody. We have a lot of organizations that work in the county, in Franklin County. We had a lot of nonprofits that benefit out of the county. And so these connections, these collaborations will lead to solid partnerships that will help benefit our budget that is hurting right now. I keep saying it, like I said, communication is dire, it's needed, and these collaborations will help build a stronger county. Whether it's Franklin County, whether it's partnering with Benton County, across the state, all these partnerships work together to help, again, the budget, the situations happening in Franklin County. But we all need to work together.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann.
Thank you. That's a complicated question. Balance the economy of scale with the needs of Franklin County. Yes, Franklin.
That come from regional partnerships.
And with relationship to regional partnerships. As Mr. Mullen said, we have, I believe, the best relationship with our counterparts in Benton County than we've had in a long time. I work on a daily basis to build relationships with our partners across the river and with other agencies. Working with the city of Pasco, I believe the relationship is better with the city of Pasco today than it's been in the 12 years that I've been watching very closely, and I think that's vitally important. Whether it's our state legislators, whether it's our counterparts to the north or any direction, it's important that we work together because 1 + 1 = 2 unless you add teamwork in there, and then it equals 3 because you improve each other's opportunity and chances with your connections. And I think working together with our neighbors across the river or within our own county in a different capacity, such as the city of Pasco, those relationships are vitally important to our success.
Thank you. Mr. Atkins.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. What is
that
your
guy.
approach to balancing the economy of scale that comes from regional partnerships and the unique needs of Franklin County?
So I think that what we have to do is prioritize the needs of Franklin County first. I mean, that's the county that I'm serving, so I'm going to prioritize those needs. Actually really liked what Rocky said earlier about the transit system. I think that needs to be looked at. And I think the way to do that is to do some data analysis on what routes are being used at what time of day, and then supply those routes at that time of the day, and then maybe cut back and sell our buses, some of our buses, and get some Sprinter vans. Or something like that. Something needs to be done, because I believe that, yeah, we shouldn't be paying people to just drive empty buses around. I think that the partnerships with Benton County are very, partnering with Benton County is very important, though, because what they do affects us, and what we do will inevitably affect them. And we have to be tough, we have to be strong, we have to stick to our values and our agenda and what benefits Franklin County, but we also have to balance it with what would be good for the collective. And we can't be mean, we can't be grimy, but I think we need to be solid. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up would be Mr. Bauman. With the closing of the Lamb Weston plant in Connell, how do you plan to help the smaller cities in the county thrive and grow?
We're working on that currently. Met with the mayor and the city manager of Connell on Friday, asking questions on how can we be of assistance. That Lamb Weston plant used 41% of the budget of the water, or 41% of the budgeted water was used at that plant. And with that going away, that's going to be a serious impact. 13% of the taxes in Connell come from that plant. And so that's going to be a severe impact to Connell. So already met with them, trying to understand what their needs are in the immediate as well as the long term, and plan to be there this afternoon and meet with them again and learn some of the concerns and needs, and are there ways that we can help. It's fresh enough that I don't know all the tools that are available to us, but as we figure out what is available, we'll help in every way that we possibly can.
Thank you. Mr. Atkins.
I actually think that we need to try to incentivize in Franklin County businesses coming here, and not just small businesses. And I love small business. Small business is great. But I think we should try to incentivize bigger businesses coming here. And I'm not sure how we would do that. We could find ways to do that, but I think that would be, I think that that's something that we should look into. Because big businesses, some of them, most of them, offer high-paying jobs. And I'm thinking, of course, like Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, something like that. And I understand, like, people might think to themselves, well, that would probably maybe destroy some of the demographics here. But I don't think so. I think that bringing something like that here would bring engineers, accountants, people of high skills and people with lots of wealth, and inevitably a lot of tax dollars.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen.
Well, first and foremost, we must work together to try to find jobs for all the 400 people that were laid off. There's such a shortage of workers in Franklin County that I think that with the job fair that we have coming up, that hopefully we can place all those workers. Obviously, if they've been working there for years, they're very talented and hardworking people. Outside of that, as far as continuing growth, we must protect our dams. One of the biggest issues that we face with bringing new business into Tri-Cities is we're out of power. We need more power. And to take those dams away, it's got to be the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. Not only would it affect our farming, but when you have major companies that want to come in here and then they find out we don't have enough power to supply their needs, that's very concerning, and even more concerning when you have people wanting to take our dams out. Thank you.
Ms. Barajas.
Thank you. First and foremost, we need to see about the individuals that were impacted, where it's impacting their livelihoods, it's going to trickle down to how it's going to impact the sales tax in Connell. And not only in Connell, but the whole county. And so, again, collaborating with the services, the resources that are out there, collaborating with, we have WorkSource, we have a lot of agencies and that can step in and help out. We definitely need to look into how we're going to accommodate these individuals that were impacted. Their lives were just crushed. And so we need to make sure they are taken care of. And if we're talking about incentives, maybe incentives with the current factories that we have here, with all the processors that we have here, maybe they can take in some of the employees. It's definitely working together that we need to make sure that we can see by the individuals that are impacted. There was a second part.
Nope, I think you answered it.
Thank you.
Okay. How much time do we have left, Colin? I've got 3 great questions left. I'm trying to figure it out. One more? Okay. What is your vision? Okay, so we're going to start with Mr. Atkins. What is your vision for the HAPO Center, including the property adjacent to that center?
Well, I mentioned earlier, I think that we should probably sell the HAPO Center, actually. I think that what's going on right now is you've got this big, building that's being used by our county and ran by it. And we're not collecting property taxes from it. And so I think it's a drain on our resources and probably a strain on our budget. I think that if we did that, we could probably use the money to get ourselves out of this deficit that we're in, along with, negotiating with some of the county heads that we've got. I don't have a vision for that except for I think that we should sell it.
Thank you. Mr. Mullen?
So I believe that the HAPO Center is a great community asset that has maybe not been utilized to its full function in the past years, well, since its inception. But I believe now that we have HWL in there, they are a professional company that can lead us into a very active center that will include activities for our youth. And I think that that is an underestimated value. When you give activities to our young children throughout Franklin County with places to go and things to do with their time, it does keep them out of trouble. It keeps them focused. And I believe that that center could be used as a great example of youth recreation. And with the development that's going on around it, I don't believe that we should sell off property. I'm more inclined to own it and lease it out. When you sell something, it's gone. It's gone forever. When you lease it, at least you have residual income. That's my thought. Thank you.
Ms. Barajas?
That's a great question. It's kind of difficult to answer. I think I moved here early enough to have seen the HAPO where there was an event almost every day. There was huge dances and a lot of stuff going on regularly. Unfortunately, it's past its prime, I think. It is a great asset that the county currently holds. However, it's taken in a lot more investment from the county than what it's producing. I do believe that we should sell it. We've seen that when it's leased by companies either local or out of state, it's probably not produced enough. I don't agree that there's an out-of-state company managing it because they're taking the revenue. We should look into, before selling it, we should probably look into collaborations with local, around the state, individuals, companies that can run it, make some profit out of it before we consider selling it. But if it's not producing again within the next 2 years, a year, we should definitely put that up for sale.
Thank you. Mr. Baumann?
Thank you. That's quite the variety of visions for that center. What is my vision for the HAPO Center? The Trade, Recreation, and Agricultural Center, as it began, was an amazing thing for our community as I watched that be built back in the early 90s and to see it where it is today. It has definitely had some lack of maintenance, which is being remedied now. There's been a lot of cleanup happen this year on that. I'm excited to see that. I'm thankful that there's a professional organization that is putting together a master plan for it right now. I don't think that I think it would be short-sighted of me to say what my vision for the center is. What I'm doing is trying to clean it up and get it prepared, because the cleaner and the better shape it's in will be the better that the master plan, as those that are involved in that develop it, will show what that center should be used for. Is it a regional sports complex? I don't know. That has been talked about. It's been talked about to be a conference center that is more specific to. What I do know is that it needs to be upgraded and cleaned up, and that's what I've been doing, and I'm looking forward to the master plan being completed.
Thank you. We're going to give you 60 seconds for your closing comments. Since we did the opening comments with District 1 first, we'll start with District 2. Mr. Mullen, you have 60 seconds.
Well, again, I'd just like to say it's been my pleasure to be your public servant for the past 3.5 years. I look forward to 4 more years. I believe that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and that being fiscally responsible and making sure that all of our dollars are allocated properly and spent efficiently and effectively. I just encourage everyone to get out and vote. I want to be your voice in county government. My phone is always open. If you want to give me a call with any concerns, I am here to help you. Like I said, I'm a lifelong resident. My family's been here since the 1940s. So I'm pretty familiar with everything that is happening in the county. And again, I would appreciate your vote, and I look forward to 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Barajas.
Thank you. I think that growth and prosperity can happen, but we need to be transparent about what we're doing. We need to be transparent to all of you. I don't believe that's been happening, and so I feel that by changing our current leadership, we are now going to have new leaders that are really vested in making sure that we respond to you, to your needs, to the needs of the county as a whole. It's time to hold people accountable, and it's time for transparency. So I think it's time for a change. Please show up to vote. Whatever you vote for, whoever you vote for, please show up to vote. But I would love your vote. Thank you.
Mr. Baumann.
Thank you to the Chamber for inviting us here today. Thank you for this opportunity. I love my community, and I need my community to succeed for me to be successful. I've raised my family here. This is where I live today, and this is where I plan to continue to live, and I want to do everything in my power to make my community successful. I know many of you in this room and have met you over the last number of years, a lot of you in volunteer capacities as well as simply going about your business and serving this county. This county needs strong business. It needs community partnerships. It needs people to care about their community. I care about my community. I care about you, and would be humbled to continue to serve you in the role of commissioner, and would ask for your vote. Thank you.
And with that, that concludes our, oh, so sorry. Okay, Colin, if we do this again, I have to have light. I'm doing this in the dark. Go ahead, Mr. Atkins.
I'm running for county commissioner because I think that there are problems that need to be addressed, and I think that I'm the person to address them. I come to this office with skills that I believe, interpersonal skills as well as mathematical skills that I believe are necessary for the leadership that we need to kind of restore. I appreciate this community. I love this community. I grew up here. It's been my home for a lot of years, quite a bit of years. And I want to see it thrive just as much as the next person. And if I'm elected, this will be my sole position. I'm not going to put my efforts anywhere else except for in you. Your agenda is my agenda. I would really love your support on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the audience. We're always stronger together as a community. Thank you for making sure everyone got an opportunity to answer the questions. We had some really good questions that didn't get answered, so you may have time after this forum to talk to people afterwards. You can watch the rebroadcast of this forum online at Pasco City Television or on Charter Channel 191. So I invite you to give a round of applause to our candidates at this time. And with that, I will invite Mr. Hastings back to the podium.
Please give Rebecca a round of applause for the effort she put in today. So that concludes our luncheon today. However, we have a door prize. But before I get to the door prize and the winner of said door prize, I want to remind everybody November 12th is our next meeting. It is a Tuesday. If you notice today, it's a holiday for the bankers, and that's why there's no bankers here. Did you notice that? Oh, I take that back, Walter. Thank you for making it. Yeah, see, on his day off, there's always somebody, so I appreciate it. So the 12th, November 12th, will be our next luncheon. It's a Tuesday, and CEO Mark Holyoke with Lords will be giving us an update what's going on there. So with that, our door prize today is a lovely bottle of wine and a $25 Amazon gift card, and it goes to John Rosenau. Congratulations. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being a good crowd. Have a good day.